What a great day to be a Chargers fan. Guys, this team gave me so much energy. First from the Hall of Fame game, and then from the absolutely wild news that dropped afterwards. There's just so much happening around this team, and it feels like we're finally turning the page towards something special. What's up, Chargers fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Chargers. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Bolts. Let's start off with the game. The Chargers absolutely dominated the Lions in the Hall of Fame game, winning by a score of 34-7. And I don't care if it's a preseason game, if it's mostly backups. Football is football, and that was a statement. From the very first quarter, you could tell this team had an identity. They looked physical. They looked sharp. They looked well coached and ready to compete. And that's exactly what I wanted to see in this new Jim Harbaugh era. The energy on the sideline, the discipline on both sides of the ball, all of it just screamed, this team is different. But just as I was sitting back, rewatching some of the plays from the game, some absolutely wild news broke. Micah Parsons, the superstar linebacker and pass rusher for the Dallas Cowboys, has officially requested a trade. Yes, you heard that right. Micah Parsons wants out of Dallas, and I know some people might be thinking, okay, what does this have to do with the Chargers? But hear me out. It has everything to do with us. If you're trying to build a top-tier defense, not just a solid defense, but a championship-caliber unit, then this is the kind of player you go get. Micah Parsons is not just some Pro Bowler. He's a game wrecker. He's arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL right now, and he's only 26 years old. He already has more than 50 sacks in his short career. That kind of production doesn't just grow on trees. He's a once-in-a-generation kind of talent. Now I get it. Some fans are going to say, but we already have Khalil Mack. We have Tuli Tuipulotu. We have Bud Dupree, and most probably the Chargers will keep 4 edge rushers on the 53-man roster. Then we have a rookie 4th-rounder Kyle Kennard. Above all, we have Caleb Murphy. Yes, I have to mention him here because he has an extraordinary performance in the Hall of Fame game. A forced fumble, 2 tackles, 1 sack tells a whole different story. So, yeah, that's true. Our pass rush is already solid, but think about the future. Khalil Mack is getting older, and this is likely his final year with the team. What better time to find his replacement than right now, when someone like Micah Parsons is available? Even better, imagine a situation where Mack is still here, and we bring in Parsons. Just picture that front 7. You've got Parsons flying off one edge, Mack on the other, Tuli rotating in, and Dupree or Murphy or Kennard causing havoc. That's a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. That's how you build a defense that wins playoff games in January. Now, the actual question is the price. How much Parsons will cost to the Chargers? Reports are saying Parsons could cost up to 2 first-round picks in a trade. Honestly, I'd do it in a heartbeat. If you're a serious contender, and I believe the Chargers are building toward that, you don't get scared by price tags. First-round picks are a gamble. You don't know if the guy you take in the 20s is even going to pan out. But with Parsons, you already know what you're getting. Elite talent, proven production, and still room to grow. Then there's the contract situation. Micah Parsons is probably going to demand around $40 million per year on his next deal. That's quarterback money. But again, he's worth it. Edge rushers are game changers. They wreck offensive lines, force turnovers, and shift momentum. If you're serious about winning, you find the money. And speaking of money, we've got it. According to cap projections, the Chargers have the 3rd most cap space in the entire NFL in 2026, around $84 million. So not only could we afford Parsons, but we could build around him. And if we don't get him via trade, fine. He'll be a free agent next year. Let the Cowboys franchise tag him and play hardball. We can go after him with a huge offer in free agency. And we won't even have to give up picks. But nobody can give you a guarantee that he will be available at that time because there's another angle to consider here. The competition. Teams like the Raiders and Broncos are also in a position to make a move for Parsons. Both have cap space and both play in our division. Do you really want to see Micah Parsons lining up against us twice a year? Absolutely not. If you're the Chargers, you go get him before someone else does. Okay, we will see what management decides, but here's another big surprise. And it might have Chargers fans smiling even more. Keenan Allen, our longtime wide receiver and one of the best route runners in the league, is reportedly visiting the Chargers again, and both sides are said to be interested in a reunion. Now, nothing's official yet, but this is huge. Bringing back Keenan Allen would be massive for our offense and probably the best replacement for Mike Williams. Not only does he already have chemistry with Justin Herbert, but he also knows the system and the locker room. He could step in right away and make an impact. Plus, he'd be the perfect mentor for guys like KeAndre Lambert-Smith, Brendan Rice, and Trey Harris. The value of having a veteran presence like Allen, especially in a young receiver room, cannot be overstated. This would be a big-time move, and I really hope it happens. Speaking of KeAndre Lambert-Smith, he was amazing at Hall of Fame game. This dude was making plays all night. His route running was crisp, he found separation downfield, and he even came down with a touchdown. I was really impressed. He's definitely making a strong case for a spot on the 53-man roster. Then there's Omarion Hampton. While he didn't get a ton of carries, he showed flashes of exactly what we wanted: power, vision, and that downhill running style. He just looks like a Jim Harbaugh guy. Physical, no nonsense, north-south runner. I think with more reps in the preseason, he's going to show out even more. But the star of the backfield was Kimani Vidal. 2 touchdowns. The man was electric, whether it was inside runs, outside cuts, or pass protection. He looks like a real weapon, and he made a huge statement in this game. Let's not forget Nyheim Hines either. He didn't do a ton as a runner, but in the return game and as a receiving option out of the backfield, he was very solid. He could easily earn a roster spot just for his versatility. On defense, we saw some standouts too. Nico Reed had a phenomenal game. He got a pick and was locking people down in coverage. I don't want to overhype a preseason performance, but he looked like a guy who belongs on an NFL roster. Miles Purchase and Tony Jefferson also came away with interceptions. It was really encouraging to see that kind of ball-hawking mentality on defense. The secondary was aggressive, sharp, and physical, just the way Jesse Minter likes it. At quarterback, Trey Lance played really well. He threw 2 touchdowns, looked confident in the pocket, and made good decisions. For a guy fighting for that QB3 spot, this was exactly the kind of performance he needed. Now, not everything was perfect. Let's talk about the offensive line. Zion Johnson played at center for most of the night, but he looked like someone who had never played center before in the Chargers' first drive of the game. After recovering a fumble on the opening kickoff, the Chargers had snap issues on not 1, but 2 different plays during the first drive of the game. This, mixed with Johnson's poor blocking and consistent inability to read pass rush stunts, already has many Chargers fans out on the former Boston College guard. However, head coach Jim Harbaugh is not out. In fact, he had nothing but great things to say about Johnson after the game. Probably the most athletic lineman, maybe our smartest. I thought he did a heck of a job. Yes, Harbaugh isn't going to go out there and bury his guy to the media, and Harbaugh still wants to see what Johnson can provide at the center position, but it doesn't mean we have to agree with him. Johnson simply didn't turn in a good game, plain and simple. It's not even totally Johnson's fault, as he has never played center in a game setting. Of course, he was going to struggle in his first ever reps. Unfortunately, that is part of the problem with trying this experiment in the first place. That transition from guard to center isn't easy, and there's definitely still some polish needed. All in all, this was a huge day for Chargers fans, and I hope they will keep doing like this in the regular season.